The night it started.
It's over!
At 1:07 a.m., the ATM gave him money he didn't have. Not a loan, not overdraft protection, not a glitch message. Cash. Real bills. And in that quiet Australian street, under a flickering streetlight, a 29-year-old bartender stared at the money in his hand and realized something impossible. The system hadn't stopped him. By sunrise, he had $3,000. By the end of the week, he had 6 figures moving through his accounts. 5 months later, he was flying private to Bali, spending $50,000 in a single night, while waking up in cold sweats, convinced police were outside his hotel room. This isn't a story about a mastermind hacker. It's a story about what happens when an ordinary person discovers a crack in reality and decides to step through it. Broke, buzzed, and frustrated. February 2011. Small town Australia. He finishes a late shift at the bar. Sticky floors, loud music, cheap drinks, long hours. Tips weren't great. Rent was due. He checks his balance earlier that day. $3 and some change. That kind of broke changes how you think. You stop planning long term. You start thinking about tonight. Slightly buzzed, annoyed at life, he walks to the nearest ATM just to pull out enough for a cab. He inserts his card. The screen flickers. Balance unavailable. That's strange. He tries moving a small amount between accounts. Error. He sighs. Most people would walk away. He doesn't. Maybe it's the beer. Maybe it's frustration. Maybe it's curiosity. He presses withdraw. The machine begins to count. And then, cash. He freezes, looks up at the security camera, waits for a siren. Nothing. He checks the receipt. No dramatic warning, no alert, just a normal transaction. His brain splits into 2 voices. Voice 1, this is wrong. Voice 2, do it again. He does it again. More cash. Now it's not confusion, it's electricity. His heart is pounding so loud he swears the whole street can hear it. He walks home, gripping the money like it might disappear. That night he barely sleeps. Not because he's scared, because he's thinking. The window. Over the next few nights, he experiments carefully. He notices something strange. At a certain hour, transactions lag. Balances don't immediately update. Transfers appear delayed. There's a timing gap, a short window where the system isn't fully synchronized, and in that window, withdrawals go through. The numbers correct later, but by then, the cash is already in his hand. He doesn't see himself as stealing. Not yet. He tells himself, I'll fix it later. I'm just testing something. I'm not hurting anyone. That's how it always begins, not with greed, with rationalization. From $200 to $20,000. A few hundred becomes a few thousand. A few thousand becomes 5 figures. Each night he pushes slightly further. Each morning he waits for the phone call. It never comes. No frozen accounts, no bank manager demanding explanations, nothing. The silence builds his confidence. And then one day, standing inside a bank branch, he asks casually about his balance. The teller turns the screen toward him. 7 digits. On paper, he's a millionaire. For a moment, the world feels different. The air feels lighter. People treat him differently. Or maybe he just carries himself differently. Power changes posture. He tells himself he'll be smart, pay debts, save quietly, stop soon. Instead, he books a luxury hotel in the city just to see what it's like. He walks through marble lobbies. Staff greet him by name. They assume he belongs there because money is the ultimate costume. He tips generously, orders room service without checking prices. That first taste changes everything, because now he knows something dangerous. He can live like this. Within weeks, his life is unrecognizable. Private flights to Bali, beachfront villas, VIP sections in nightclubs, 5-figure bar tabs. He tells people he made a killing in crypto. Nobody questions success when it looks good. People don't investigate confidence, they celebrate it. Old acquaintances suddenly remembered him. Strangers laughed harder at his jokes. Women who ignored him before now lean closer when he speaks. Money doesn't just buy comfort, it buys perception, and perception is addictive. It's not all selfish. In fact, the most intoxicating part isn't spending on himself, it's giving. A friend mentions struggling with tuition. He quietly pays it off. Another friend drowning in debt. Gone. Watching someone's face shift from stress to disbelief, that becomes his favorite high. He tells himself, "See, I'm doing good with it. I'm helping people." But generosity doesn't erase the source. It just softens it. Then something shifts. It starts small. He checks the window every time a car slows near his house. He Googles his name every morning. He jumps when his phone rings. He begins waking up at 3 a.m., the same hour he used to feel powerful. Now it feels different. The bank calls occasionally, but not about fraud. They just confirm expensive transactions. "Did you spend $8,000 at this hotel?" "Yes." "Perfect, just checking." That's worse because it means they're watching. And if they're watching, why haven't they stopped him? The money keeps flowing, but the joy doesn't. Luxury becomes normal. Normal becomes empty. He can't enjoy the parties. He scans rooms for undercover officers. His hands develop a tremor. He drinks more, not to celebrate, to quiet his thoughts. He realizes something terrifying. The money gave him freedom, but it also took it away, because now he can't walk away. Stopping means facing the truth. Continuing means deeper risk. He's trapped between exposure and escalation. One night, alone in a hotel suite, he stares at the ceiling and feels something heavier than fear. Shame. He wasn't raised like this. He wasn't a criminal. He was just broke and curious. And now he's living a lie so large it feels like a second identity. So he does something unexpected. He stops. No more late-night routine, no more shifting numbers. He lets the system settle. Within hours, the illusion collapses. The balance corrects itself. Negative millions. There it is, the truth. He calls the bank, voice shaking, tries to explain. They tell him it's now a police matter. He hangs up, sits on his couch, waits. An hour passes, then 2. No sirens, no knock. Days pass, then weeks, then months. That silence becomes torture, because when consequences don't arrive, your imagination fills the gap. He lives in suspended fear for 2 years. 2 years of looking over his shoulder. 2 years of rehearsing court apologies in his head. 2 years of never fully relaxing. Eventually, the anxiety becomes unbearable, so he forces the outcome. He goes public, tells his story to the media. If they weren't coming before, they would now. And they do. Courtroom, charges, headlines. Even the legal system struggles to fully understand what happened. He pleads guilty, not because he's defeated, but because he's exhausted. But waiting was worse than the sentence. He serves his time. No luxury suites, no VIP rooms, just routine, structure, reflection. When he's released, he goes back to bartending. Same town, same kind of shifts, but something inside him is different. One night, a customer recognized him. "You're that ATM guy." He nods, bracing for judgment. The man hands him a tip. "Best money I ever spent, because I earned it." They both laugh, and for the first time in years, he feels light. This wasn't a story about outsmarting a bank. It was about human nature, about what happens when temptation meets opportunity. At first, it feels like luck. Then it feels like genius. Then it feels like power. And finally, it feels like fear. Because easy money doesn't remove consequences. It delays them. And delayed consequences are often the most destructive kind. The system didn't ruin him. The belief that he could outrun reality did. And that's the part nobody talks about. This wasn't the only time someone thought they outsmarted the system. In the next video, I'm breaking down a case that makes this one look small. Subscribe so you don't miss it.